Good morning, Nigerians, and welcome to another exciting edition of your show. We call it the New Deal. It's a creation of Obidient movement, a major platform where issues about Nigeria, particularly how to get Nigeria better, have been discussed. And today, what an honor it is for me to be your host again. My name is Waju Akin-Emmanuels. Friends who know me will call me the dynamo on the radio and also on the TV. And today, what can I say? I've got a special individual who would be, exchanging our ideas with me on the show. And I'm talking about a mother, a political Amazon, someone that has caught a teeth both in the corporate world and also within the political landscape. This mother, I call her a mother, actually deserves all the accolades that you can actually pour on individuals who have achieved so much, in Nigeria. And she's also, a very, if I mention the individual that she was married to, you would know how very strong and how very special the mom that I'm going to play out to today. You understand how very special she is today. Like I said, welcome on the New Deal. And today, it's an honor to welcome Hajiya Ireti Kingibe. Madam, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Waju.
Before we actually get to, the words of this discussion, I'd like to first and foremost ask how you're feeling today. I mean, you look very relaxed. It shows that despite the stress of having to go on different campaigns, it's got nothing on you. You're still as beautiful as the first time I saw you. How are you, mom? How are you doing today?
Well, Waju, I'm glad you think I'm calm. I'm trying to be. It's very hectic.
I understand. Well, I mean, when you say hectic, I know what you must have actually, undergone in the last couple of months in Nigeria, particularly. And to think that our political waters are not the one that you can easily swim in. You really have put up a good fight as a mother, as a woman, as a political, Amazon. You've done so well for yourself, man. I must say, I really have followed your campaign, rallies, and I think you deserve a special accolade for all that you've done. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you.
So, madam, let's cut to the chase and discuss, the reason you came here today. We're talking about our journey, that is our journey in democracy. And we can't talk about democracy and, just focus our attention on the present. We have to probably go back the memory lane and talk about democracy. But for the benefit of most consumers of this content, I would like to limit that our conversation to what has happened, let's say from 1992. In terms of the evolution of our democracy. You were part of most of the things that happened from that particular era up until now. How would you describe Nigeria's democracy? Say from 1992 when we had the annulled poll where late MK Abiola actually emerged as the winner. Would you please help us so that we can have a good grasp of all the things that actually transpired from then up until now?
Well, what I've observed is that the politics, to a large extent, has regressed. And that's probably why we're all trying to take back the country. In those days, the people were more trusting of their leaders, and the leaders were also more deserving of the trust. And that was why at the time, it didn't really matter people's religion. We didn't pay strict attention to that. We were more looking at the caliber of leaders that were there. Also at that time, though my former husband was the chairman of SDP, my personal choice for president was the presidential candidate for NRC. So, well, I don't think he emerged the candidate, he didn't. But at the time when they were showcasing so many candidates, I picked my favorite from NRC. And it was okay. Nobody thought, oh, kill her, anti-party. You understand? Things were different. And then we now evolved to this place where our leaders don't care about the people. And slowly the people got very, very suspicious of the leadership are really paranoid about them, and they deserve to be. The country has not gone to a good place. And that's why this 2023 elections and the Obidient movement is so critical, because it is an attempt to bring back more credible leadership. People that you can depend on, people that it's not more about them than it is about the people. So, if I had to give you details about what it was like then, that would be going down memory lane, and we would need a lot more time than we have for this program. But that's what I see that has happened.
Thank you so much, madam, because I asked that question for obvious reasons. As in 1992, I was in my first year in secondary school, and I remember how very tough it was in 1993 when that major riot took place. I was born in Ibadan, and I know how I had to trek from Elele down to Apata, that particular point of one point in time. And it was really, a painful experience for me. And then having trudged that process and got to 1999, where I actively actually saw what happened in your state too, when, the late Lamadishna was elected as the governor of that state. And what we have now, because I always tell people, I might not know so much about Nigerian politics, but I know what happened in 1999. And I know that what happened in 1999 had nothing to do with the rich pockets of politicians. As a matter of fact, most of the individuals that won election in the Southwest were they won election based on the good works of Baba Awolowo. Some of them were even unpicked. I could say that. So when you look at all of these things that have happened, would you say that our democracy, as a nation, has actually progressed? When let's start from 1999 now. How the likes of Shoba, Lamadeshno, Adekole, Adefarati, Adebayo in Ekiti, and all of those people, how they met. Would you say we have regressed democratically, or are we on the upward mobile movement?
No, we did regress because, take the SDP. Even the people who emerged as chairmen they were not rich. Baba Kingibe was a just retired civil servant. And Tom also was an architect. So at that point in time, the people were more concerned with the more credible leaders, people who worked for them, and it wasn't about how much money you gave them, because those people didn't have any money. Even when you went to the emergence of the presidential candidates, the delegates were, okay, you can say you bought them with egg and bread because you gave them, I know we certainly gave egg and bread, we didn't have. So things were different then. But now everything is cash and carry. And why is that so? It's because the people have gotten very distrustful of the leaders. So they feel that once the leaders are elected, they're not going to benefit from them. So no matter how small what you're giving them is now, give it to me now. And that is what is changing. I'm hoping the election in 2023 would show that more credible, poorer candidates like me can get elected. Definitely, I do not have the money that my opponents have because they've been amassing them from government positions over several years. And that must change if the country is going to move forward. A little while back, maybe a couple of months ago, I watched this webinar on whether Nigeria was going to become a global power in 2050 or the world capital, poverty capital. Now, the only thing that needed to take us from being the world poverty capital to being a global power was one single thing: leadership. It just showed that that was where we have been getting it wrong. And if we can just elect more credible leaders from this 2023 going forward, then we can change the trajectory of our development.
Thank you so much, Hajiya. I like the fact that you have already, introduced yourself as a should, telling us that you are not as rich as other candidates that you are going to the battle with. So it's really good to hear that from you. But let's focus on you now. First and foremost, I know that you are the flag bearer of LP in Abuja, that is the FCT senatorial council. I'm going to ask you very simply. I know this is not the first time you'll be trying to actually get that particular seat. How has it been from the time you started and now, particularly on the Labour platform? How has it been for you?
Well, my introduction to politics just threw me straight into to being a candidate on the platform of ANPP. This was in 2003. And in spite of the fact that I was totally penniless, I had only 1 million naira to my name in the whole world, I was able to run and, as is generally believed, actually defeat the PDP candidate. But at that time, we used paper PVCs, and I went to court because the margin between us was very small, and I also saw a lot of discrepancies. And the first court said over balloting and over voting did not matter. But of course, the Court of Appeal said that's not true, that the PDP did not win, we should go and repeat it. We dragged the election for almost a year. Well, after that, they took the seat. But it didn't matter because, as far as I was concerned, politics is a journey. It's not a destination. If you want to be involved in fixing the nation and leadership, then it's a continuum. It's not about whether you win or you lose. It's about that you're always going to be involved. So I continued. But the truth of the matter is, after that, if you know me, you know that I'm the kind of, I know what is right and I will know what is wrong. I'm not a rubber stamp. And it seemed that rubber stamp senator, at least in the FCT, was needed because the senator is the highest elected office in the FCT. Though like legislative, but has a lot of tacit executive powers. And in truth, the minister of FCT has to work very closely with the senator. And therefore, if you have a senator that is going to say, no, you can't do that, it's not good for the people, then many things the minister wants to do, he's not going to be able to get away with it. If you also have a senator who's really oversighting a lot of the things that's happening, that money is disbursed to the minister, then the minister is not going to be very happy. So from then on, we slowly evolved from very educated, strong senators to less educated, more amenable senators, as we have now. Ones that just fill up their pockets and don't care about the development of the place. Now, if you look at Abuja, truth of the matter is we only have development in Maitama, Asokoro, Wuse, Airport Road, and the Central Business District. Go anywhere else, there's nothing. Nyanya, across the Airport Road into all those communities across the road, go to Gishiri, go to Mpape, go to all those places. You'll be shocked that you're actually in the FCT. And it's not, FCT has 2 budgets. A lot can be done if you have somebody who is actually looking out for the interest of the people. So,
okay. You can continue now.
So, and come few years, I decided, well, this politics is not evolving in a positive way. The FCT has actually regressed, and there's no point of it. So I decided to resign from politics. I was APC FCT leader. I said this, I did not. I'm a very idealistic person, and the ideals I was observing did not match mine. So I resigned from everything. And actually, truthfully, I was going to go and do a lot of the things I had not done because I was always involved in politics. So as soon as I decided I was out, all the other parties came along and said, well, madam, the problem has always been a ticket, right? Here, you can have ours. Just be on the ballot. We know that once you're on the ballot, it will make a difference. So I, considered other parties like possibly ABGA, NMPP, and then I ended up with Labour. But at the time I ended up with Labour, to me, Labour was just a blank party that can be used to run because you cannot be an independent candidate. You have to run on the platform of a party. Subsequent to that, Labour has grown to be what it has become. And it was seen as a fresh start the other two parties were tainted. And that's also one of the reasons why I thought, okay, I need a place that we can actually make it, that we can evolve an ideology during and after the elections, a place where people can expect equity, fairness, and justice. And those are all the reasons why I picked Labour, because I felt that we could do so much with it in the FCT. FCT should be a model. If the pilot is the face of Nigeria, is the capital, it can be what other states will want to emulate.
So from your analysis, you're saying that Labour aligns with your Omoluabi idea. As somebody from the West, you took your time and you realized that, okay, there's a way that you can work in consonance with the platform. Is that what you just said now?
Yes, it can be. It may not have, at the time, the ideals and the ideology may not be concretely and definitely defined, but it had the potential. And then the other thing that you keep saying, as a Yoruba person, as a matter of fact, Yoruba is the least amount that I have in me. My father is actually from a place called Shakara in Chalawa, but he has some Yoruba roots. And my mother is part Asaba and part Rivers. So I speak Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo. And for all the other ones, I can actually take you to a place and say, meet my family in this place. It's only the Yoruba ones. I can take you to some of my family, my Yoruba family, but I cannot actually they're scattered everywhere. I cannot actually take you to a place and say, this is where my family is from in Yoruba land. Supposedly, my Yoruba roots are from Ilesha, but I have never been to Ilesha.
Okay, but while you were answering the last question, there was something you spoke about, which has to do with education. You were talking about the fact that we have very many less educated folks occupying overseas, and they're not being able to bring to the fore the kind of development that people would really want to see, and that has to do with what you could call the paucity of educational qualities, as it were. So let me ask you, what is the business of education in democracy?
I cannot hear you. What is what?
What is the business of education in democracy, as it were?
Well, to some extent, I'm not saying that you have to be a PhD holder or an astrophysicist, but some amount of education and enlightenment is necessary if you're going to go to the National Assembly. And if I have seen one or two members in the National Assembly who were not very educated, but they were very committed to their people. And as long as they could set up an educated team to work with them, that would be fine. But for members who are not that educated, who want to save all the money that's given for aid so they don't have resource people, then what kind of bills are you going to bring out? Do you understand? And also, yes, it's a function of education is also helping you to understand the things you do not know, not just what you know. So there are many things you're going to ask me, and I'm telling you, I don't know. And because I don't know, I'm going to look for somebody who does know. Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Yes,
it's not knowing and decide that it doesn't matter.
So let's talk about Abuja. Abuja, where you prayerfully and hopefully you become the next senator, from that particular, environment. What is it like in Abuja? What is politics like in Abuja? And how do you intend to affect your people when you get elected? Because I so much believe in your person, and I think you're going to get elected. So what do you bring to to bear in terms of representing your people in Abuja?
Well, for one thing, I know I've lived in Abuja since 1988 on and off, and I know the problems of Abuja. I've watched Abuja evolve from a place where people only lived in life camps to the Abuja that we have today. Now, some of the issues that I feel are not being adequately addressed. The minister is usually appointed and therefore not accountable to the people. But the senator is accountable to the people because the senator is elected. And certain things need to be brought to the attention of the minister, even if he's in charge of infrastructure. For one thing, Abuja does not have water. Lower Usma Dam and Jabi Lake were created to provide water for the FCT. But the water is not going to jump from the lake into our homes. We have to put the necessary infrastructure in place. A lot of the roads are bad. Part of the reason that the roads are some of them are being awarded, appropriated for, but they're awarded to people who pocket the money and do not do the job. And that should be, the senator is supposed to have some amount of oversight function. Now let's go to security. If a certain amount is appropriated to the minister, or he's the person who's at the end of the day ultimately responsible for the security of the FCT. If it's appropriated to him to do A, B, and C, who then ensures that A, B, and C are done? The senator. But if the senator doesn't care and just wants a certain proportion of what was appropriated, and then nobody needs to do anything, then nothing is going to happen. The third thing, FCT, as I said, is the capital. All the ministries are here, all the parastatals are here. At the very least, FCT youth should have some amount of employment, if for nothing else but the fact that they are where these places, the ministries and the parastatals are. They're not coming from somewhere else. But no, why not? We have quotas just like everybody else, but who knows about them? Who ensures that they get given? It's only something, it's not the minister's business, but it should be the senator's business and the House of Reps. The other thing, look at the roads, please. Abuja, apart from the roads that are obvious, like the airport road and the ones you see, the ring roads, how the rest of them are terrible. The absolute worst. I don't know if you've ever been to a place called Gishiri. Have you been to Mpape? Have you been to Nyanya? If you go to those places, now I wouldn't even talk about Kujegwa, Walada, Kwali, and Abaji. If Abaji has decent roads, but that's because they once had one or two very proactive chairmen. But look at the rest of Abuja. How do you develop? Thirdly, we have 6 area councils in Abuja, 5 of which are primary agrarian. How many decent farms do you see? Nothing. So a lot needs to be done. Now, Abuja is to be treated like a state, but it's not a state, meaning that certain policies and bills need to be written that will help us be like a state, even though we're not. And when I say be like a state, for instance, we have health funds that all the states can access. With the right bills in place, we also in Abuja can access them. But somebody has to write those bills. We have health education fund, so many things that other states can access. That's what the National Assembly representatives, that's the Senator and the House of Reps, need to look at. How do we in FCT access those same funds? Now, the National Assembly, which is the Senate and the House of Reps, they are the equivalent of the State Assembly for the FCT. So really, there's no reason why we should be in the state that we're in. I'll give you an example. The current senator of the FCT was the chairman of the Power Committee, and Senator Ngige from Anambra was the deputy chairman. He, using his position as deputy chairman of the Power Committee, managed to get power companies to employ 600 youths, plus or minus a few, from Anambra. How many did the senator who was of Abuja, who was actually the chairman, how many did he get employed anyway? None. So what you get done and how things are done depends on the kind of leaders that you elect. That is a clear example that if employment was, and the well-being of the youth of FCT was high on was a priority for him, there's so much he could have done. But it doesn't get done. Even the roads, I should tell you at least 4 major roads in the FCT that have been awarded, but have not been done year in, year out. What has he done about it? Nothing. And part of the reason is some roads I don't know about all, but at least I know one or two of those contracts were awarded to companies that he's directly affiliated with. So how can he then oversight it?
Okay, madam, thank you for this analysis, but I'm going to ask you in simple terms. Now that you have been able to notice all of these challenges that Abuja is actually facing, how do you make this happen? You know, should you get elected as a senator, and do you even have any political antecedents that actually show that you really can deliver on this? What have you done to show that you could actually deliver on this when you get elected?
Well, in the FCT, if you go to the grassroots, I'm known for being the person that when something needs to be fought for or brought, I'm the go-to person. Once I hear, even as me, in fact, a lot of the establishment in quotes call me a busybody. If I hear that there's a slot for FCT somewhere and it hasn't been released, I go and start insisting that no, it belongs to us, we must have it. And I can't tell you how many things I have gotten done on my own, like getting federal board appointments for people in the FCT just directly from my own effort, or making sure that some of our FCT slots are filled by collecting CVs in the middle of the night and sending it. So, and even as leader of the party, when there's a problem, everybody in the FCT in that particular party will remember that, oh, she's a leader, she can go and talk to anybody. And that's the truth. I will go and talk to anybody that I need to talk to if there's a problem with my constituency, whether it's the vice president, whether it's the SGF, anybody that is the person who is going to take care of it. I'm the one. Most men are very diffident and afraid of men in higher positions. But I'm a woman. This is a problem in the FCT and it needs to be resolved. So they will now run here and say, oh, Hajiya, you have to call this person, you have to meet this person. As soon as that problem is resolved, then they go back to say, she's only a woman, whenever we're at any gathering. But when there's a problem, they know that will solve it. So I have a lot, in the last 20 years, recently, there's a place called Dangara that I just took water to. Of course, I started doing it before I was running. And they just got it while I was in campaigning. So I do what needs to be done. I can't promise anything. Like now, I went to campaign somewhere and they wanted, it was just Muslim women in an Islamic school for women. And she explained to me that nobody there, that their girls never get to go to university. None has gone from here, blah, 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 because they can't afford it. And then the other thing they needed was a bus. So I said to her, Madam, I cannot commit to a bus. I will look into it if I get elected. But I can commit to educating 2 girls from this community in a university, whether I'm elected or not, because those are the kind of things I normally do anyway. And there are times I go to a village, they tell me if I'm elected senator, they want a well. I say, you don't need to wait for me to get elected senator. You can't be well now. Or sometimes women want simple things as big pots. So I've gone to places where they want big pots if I get elected as senator. I said, no, you can have the pots now. I don't have to be senator to give you pots. So what I'm trying to say is that in the FCT, and if you check with the chiefs and the people in the grassroots, I've always been a doer. Now, if I do all those things under my own steam, it is the what gives them the confidence is that if she was doing it for us before with her own effort and her own money, she definitely is not about to not do it when it is her personal responsibility, the position we have given her. So those are the things that make them feel that I can do it.
Okay, guys, we have been having a special tete-a-tete with Hajiya Ireti Kingibe, senatorial candidate for the FCT and under the platform of Labour Party. A very, very special individual by all standards and all definition of that word. I haven't listened to her, for about for something minutes. I can tell you that Abuja, probably might just simply on their way to realizing the real reason Abuja was created in the first place. Now, madam, I want us to just talk about a little bit about Obi now, and I know that Peter Obi, one way or the other, who is your principal at this particular point in time, did he influence your decision to join Labour Party? Were you attracted to his person, before you decided to actually join the Labour Party?
No, I don't think so, because I think I may have joined just a little bit earlier than he did. I mean, I know him, I've always liked him, but as far as I was concerned, he was in PDP, and it wouldn't really have mattered to me that he was in PDP if I had not joined Labour to run. I was always intending to support him wherever he was running from, because I think we should look around, look for the best person, and go and elect them. I've been saying for years that when the time will come when we, the people, go and look for our leaders, as opposed to people coming to us and say, vote for me because I'm running. But no, we are looking for an orange, and we go out and look for an orange, not wait and be given a choice between a lime and a lemon and say, suck on one. So I would have gone and worked for him anyway, because I felt that he would make a good leader. Secondly, I also feel that fair is fair. In the scheme of this country, and to enhance our unity and optimize it, I felt that the presidency for after Buhari should actually go to a Southeasterner. And in that light, I, for years, from 2017, have sort of been looking out for a credible Southeasterner that I would work for to get him elected. Because yes, the presidency is supposed to go south, but it has been everywhere else. And let's be fair. And one of the things that I'm able to do is that, because I had a Christian mother and a Muslim father, and I've given you my ethnic mix, I'm able to see things from everybody's point of view in an objective manner. And the truth of the matter is that for peace to reign in Nigeria and for everybody to feel included, 2023 was and is the time to have had and to have a Southeastern president. So that is coming.
Sorry to call it your flow. Apart from this, sentiments that you expressed about, the concept of fairness and justice that you'd have to go to the South, as it were. I'm sure you've worked with Obi in close quarters in the last couple of months. What are the things that you've seen that make you think is best suited, for that position at this particular point in time?
For one thing, I think he understands the problems, not to say that the others do not, but I also feel that he's young enough, has the energy, and he's not too young. We do not need a president who's very young. That's my belief. I believe we need one who is young enough to do the things that need to be done, but old enough to have had experience and wisdom. So I feel that Obi falls into that. And then in the interacting with him, and since I joined Labour and he also became the flag bearer for the Labour Party, I've noticed that he's a committed person. He's not concerned with the paraphernalia of power. He's if something needs to be done, he's not going to say no just because it takes away some of his powers. He's also somebody who is a solution person. And that is what we need in this country right now. So the truth is that working more with him, I can see that he would make a good president come 2023.
Really has been an exciting
another thing that I feel. I'll give you an example. Baba Kingibe, my former husband, I feel would have made an excellent president. But everything has its time. And the time for him to have been president has passed. And if I feel that his time has passed, and believe it or not, I feel that he's head and shoulders above the presidential candidates of the other two parties, then the time for them to have been president has also passed. That's the truth. We're not talking about what they did for the country in the past. We are grateful. Like somebody said once, it's like calling Kalunwankwo, Finidi George, all those people, and telling them that we want them to now to go and represent us in the World Cup. No, the time for them to do that has passed. They did give us their best at the time when they could. But like that is the law of life. Things pass. And that is my major issue with the PDP and APC candidates. We have a lot to be grateful to them for their past contributions, but the key word there is past contributions, not future.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mama. It's been exciting engaging you on this platform this morning. I really want to continue with this conversation, but time is not friendly, to us this morning. But before I go, money and politics, let's talk about it. In the next couple of days, Nigerians will go to the polls to elect their people. What role would money play? And do you think money will be able to buy people's minds now, knowing forward that has been, more like the practice over the years? Do you think that will play a major role in these elections as we look forward to Saturday, 25th of February?
Well, my assessment may be naive, but I think it will not play the same kind of role it would have played without the currency change. Believe it or not, every day I'm looking for 20K, 30K in cash. I don't see how one can actually buy anybody with 20K and 30K. But that's my naive and idealistic assessment. But in the FCT, in the past, where the bulk of the votes are, money never did play a major part because the civil service, the kind of educated voters that we have, you can play money politics in the rural areas, but in the place where you have the bulk of the votes, they all know exactly who they want to vote for when they come out to vote, and you can't really make them do anything.
Thank you, Mama. Such an enjoyable time with you, I must say. And I really love the fact that you came on the show and that I could actually have this conversation with you like this. Thank you so much, Mom. It's such an honor to have you join us on the show today. But before you give your parting shot, Mom, a motherly advice to all Obidient in Nigeria and the globe. Because I know that very many of us are burning. We just want to go to the polls, cast a vote, and we don't care. As long as you're on the Labour Party, platform, we just want you to become, the winners of the election. So your advice to all of us, particularly as we look forward to Saturday.
Well, my advice to FCT, and that this next few days we are going to the polls. I want Abuja voters to be VIPs, vote in peace for a new Nigeria. Everybody should ensure that they do go out and vote, but particularly that they go out and vote in peace. And this message I'm addressing particularly to Abuja youth. I know how everybody's burning up with all the things that have been happening, but it is critical and important that we vote in peace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, incoming Senator of the Federal Capital Territory. I'm so happy to have been the first individual to congratulate you on your victory, because I know you have won. And I just want you to go, basking in the euphoria of being able to represent your people and then delivering on your promises. Thank you so much, madam. Thank you for coming on our platform this morning.
Thank you for having me, Waju. Thank you.
And you have a beautiful weekend ahead of you. So, guys, we've been, playing host to one of the sweetest individuals I've met in this movement. A mother, a lover, somebody that just cares about young people. And I'm talking about Hajiya Ireti Kingibe. Such an honor to have actually had her. You have been listening to our journey in democracy. The New Deal is the show, and it's on the platform of Obidient TV. Let's do this again next time. Until then, my name is Waju Akin-Emmanuels. Friends call me the Dynamo. Remember, on Saturday, 25th of February. Go to the polls, cast a vote in favor of the healthy. Have a beautiful day. We love you.